Today we are going to talk about a very powerful English learning topic: the power of reading every day. Many English learners want to speak better English. They want more vocabulary. They want better grammar. They want confidence. They want fluency. But many learners ignore one of the simplest and strongest habits for improving English. That habit is reading every day. Reading may look simple. Reading may look slow. Reading may not feel exciting at first. But reading is one of the best ways to fill your mind with real English. Every page you read gives your brain new words. Every sentence shows you how English works. Every paragraph teaches you grammar, structure, ideas, and expressions. You do not only learn English by memorizing rules. You also learn English by seeing English again and again. That is the real power of reading. When you read every day, English becomes familiar. Words become easier. Sentences become clearer. Ideas become stronger. And slowly, your speaking also begins to improve. In this video, we will discover how daily reading can improve your English, grow your knowledge, and make you a more confident learner. So listen carefully, learn deeply, and try to think in English while listening. Part 1. Reading builds your vocabulary naturally. One of the biggest problems English learners face is vocabulary. They want to speak English, but they do not have enough words. They want to express their ideas, but the right words do not come. They understand something in their mind, but when they try to say it in English, they feel stuck. This happens to many learners, and because of this, they start memorizing long word lists. They learn 10 words today, 20 words tomorrow, 50 words next week. But after some time, they forget most of them. Why? Because the words were not connected to real meaning. They were just words on a page. Reading solves this problem in a natural way. When you read, you do not learn words alone. You learn words inside sentences. You learn words inside stories. You learn words inside real situations. This makes vocabulary much easier to understand and remember. For example, imagine you learn the word journey. If you only memorize the meaning, you may forget it quickly. But if you read a sentence like, "Her journey to success was difficult, but she never gave up." Now the word has a feeling. It has a situation. It has meaning. You understand how the word is used. This is much more powerful than memorizing the word alone. Reading gives vocabulary life. It shows you how words behave in real English. It shows you which words go together. It shows you how words are used naturally. This is very important because English is not only about knowing words. It is about knowing how to use them. Think about the word make. You may know this word, but through reading, you see many useful combinations. Make a decision. Make progress. Make a mistake. Make a plan. Make someone happy. Now your vocabulary becomes stronger. You are not learning one word. You are learning useful English patterns. These patterns help you speak more naturally. Another powerful thing about reading is repetition. When you read regularly, useful words appear again and again. The first time you see a word, it may feel new. The second time, it becomes a little familiar. The third time, you understand it better. After seeing it many times, the word becomes part of your memory. This is how vocabulary grows naturally. You do not force your brain to remember. You give your brain repeated exposure. And repeated exposure creates learning. Think about how you learned words in your first language. You did not memorize every word from a list. You heard words many times. You saw words many times. You understood them through real situations. English can grow the same way. Reading every day gives your brain the repetition it needs. Even if you read only 10 minutes a day, you are still feeding your brain English. 10 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow, 10 minutes the next day. After 1 month, your brain has seen hundreds or thousands of English sentences. After 1 year, the effect can be huge. Many learners think they need difficult books to improve. That is not true. In fact, very difficult books can sometimes slow you down. If every sentence has too many unknown words, reading becomes stressful. You stop enjoying it. You stop understanding. And soon, you quit. The best reading material is something you can mostly understand. It should be easy enough to enjoy. But it should also have a few new words to help you grow. This is the perfect balance: simple stories, easy articles, short English lessons, beginner books, motivational paragraphs, daily conversations. All of these can help. Do not feel ashamed to read easy English. Easy English builds confidence. Easy English builds understanding. Easy English helps you stay consistent. And consistency is more important than difficulty. Another useful habit is keeping a small vocabulary notebook. When you read and find a useful word, write it down. But do not write only the word. Write the full sentence. For example, word, improve. Sentence. Reading every day can improve your English. This helps you remember the word in context. Later, you can create your own sentence. Daily practice improves my confidence. Now the word becomes active. You are not just recognizing it, you are using it. That is the goal. A word becomes truly powerful when you can use it in your own speaking and writing. Reading also teaches you which words are common. Some learners waste time learning very rare and difficult words. But reading shows you the words people actually use often. Common words appear again and again. Useful phrases appear again and again. And because you see them many times, they become part of your natural English. This helps speaking too. When you have more vocabulary, you feel less stuck. You can explain your thoughts better. You can describe your feelings better. You can share ideas more clearly. You can speak with more confidence. That is why reading is not only a reading skill. Reading supports speaking. Reading supports writing. Reading supports listening. Reading supports thinking in English. Everything is connected. If you want to build vocabulary naturally, read every day. Read simple content. Read interesting content. Read content that matches your level. Do not rush. Do not worry about understanding every word. Focus on the main meaning. Learn a few useful words. Review them. Use them. And repeat the process daily. Vocabulary does not grow only by memorizing words. Vocabulary grows when you meet words again and again in real sentences. So read every day. Let English enter your mind naturally. Let words become familiar. Let sentences become easier. And little by little, your vocabulary will become stronger, richer, and more useful for real communication. Part 2. Reading improves your grammar without memorizing rules. When many people think about grammar, they immediately think about rules. They think about tenses. They think about formulas. They think about complicated explanations. And because of this, grammar often feels difficult and boring. Many learners spend hours studying grammar rules. They memorize structures. They complete exercises. But when it is time to speak, they still make mistakes. Why? Because knowing a rule and using a rule are two different things. Reading helps solve this problem. When you read regularly, your brain starts noticing grammar naturally. You see correct English again and again. You see how sentences are built. You see how words work together. You see grammar in action. Think about a child learning their first language. Children do not learn grammar from textbooks. They hear language every day. They see language every day. Slowly, their brain recognizes patterns. English learners can use the same process. Imagine reading hundreds of sentences like, I went to school yesterday. She watched a movie last night. They visited their grandparents. After seeing these examples many times, your brain starts recognizing the pattern of the past tense. You may not even think about the rule. You simply know that it sounds correct. This is one of the greatest benefits of reading. It trains your grammatical instincts. Instead of constantly asking, which grammar rule should I use? You begin feeling what sounds natural. This is how many fluent speakers communicate. They have seen correct English so many times that proper grammar feels familiar. Reading also helps you understand sentence structure. You learn how ideas are organized. You learn how paragraphs flow. You learn how English speakers connect thoughts. This makes your own speaking and writing stronger. Another advantage is that reading reduces grammar anxiety. Many learners are afraid of grammar. They think they must master every rule before they can communicate. That is not true. Communication comes first. Improvement comes through exposure and practice. Reading provides that exposure every day. The more you read, the more familiar grammar becomes. And the more familiar grammar becomes, the easier English feels. You do not learn grammar only by studying rules. You learn grammar by seeing correct English repeatedly. And reading gives you that opportunity every single day. Part 3. Reading helps you think in English. One of the biggest challenges for English learners is translation. Many learners think in their native language first. Then they translate into English. This process is slow. It creates hesitation. It often makes speaking difficult. Imagine wanting to say something simple. Before speaking, you create the sentence in your native language. Then you search for English words. Then you arrange those words. Then you finally speak. This takes time and energy. Reading can help break this habit. Why? Because reading exposes your brain directly to English. The more English you read, the more familiar English becomes. Instead of constantly translating, your brain starts understanding English directly. This is a huge step toward fluency. Imagine reading a simple sentence. The weather is beautiful today. At first you may translate it, but after seeing similar sentences many times, you understand the meaning immediately. No translation is needed. Your brain begins connecting English words directly to ideas. This is exactly what fluent speakers do. They do not translate every sentence. They understand English naturally. Reading helps build this ability. Another benefit is that reading fills your mind with English patterns. These patterns become available when you speak. When you need to express an idea, your brain remembers sentences and structures it has seen before. This makes communication smoother. Think about how often you read phrases such as, I would like to, in my opinion. The reason is, as a result, after seeing these patterns repeatedly, they become familiar. Later, you begin using them naturally in conversations. This is one reason readers often become stronger speakers. Their minds are full of useful language. Reading also creates an English environment inside your brain. Even if nobody around you speaks English, reading allows you to spend time with the language every day. You are constantly exposing yourself to English thoughts, English ideas, and English expressions. Over time, English starts feeling less like a foreign language and more like a natural way of communicating. Another powerful effect is confidence. Many learners feel nervous because English feels unfamiliar. Reading changes this. The more familiar English becomes, the less intimidating it feels. Words become easier to recognize. Sentences become easier to understand. Ideas become easier to express. Confidence grows naturally. Think about learning to drive. At first, everything feels unfamiliar. The controls feel confusing. The experience feels stressful. But after enough practice, driving becomes natural. Reading creates the same kind of familiarity with English. The more exposure you have, the more comfortable you become. And comfort is one of the foundations of fluency. Fluent speakers do not spend all their time translating. They think directly in English. And one of the best ways to train your brain to think in English is to read English every day. The more you read, the more natural English becomes. The more natural English becomes, the more confidently you can communicate. Part 4. Reading makes speaking easier. Many English learners have the same problem. They understand some English. They know some vocabulary. They study grammar. But when it is time to speak, they suddenly feel stuck. Their mind becomes blank. Words disappear. Confidence disappears. And speaking feels difficult. One reason this happens is because they are not getting enough English input. Speaking is an output skill. Before you can produce good English, your brain needs to receive a lot of English. Reading is one of the best ways to provide that input. Every time you read, you fill your mind with English words, English sentences, and English expressions. Think about a water tank. If no water enters the tank, eventually it becomes empty. The same thing happens with language. If you never feed your brain English, speaking becomes difficult. Reading fills your language tank. The more quality English you read, the more language your brain has available when you speak. Imagine reading stories every day. You repeatedly see useful expressions. You repeatedly see natural sentence structures. You repeatedly see common vocabulary. After a while, these patterns become familiar. Then something amazing happens. You begin using them when you speak. Not because you memorize them, but because your brain has seen them many times. This is how natural speaking develops. Many learners believe speaking improves only through speaking practice. Speaking practice is important, but reading supports speaking in powerful ways. Reading gives you ideas. Reading gives you vocabulary. Reading gives you sentence structures. Reading gives you confidence. The more you read, the easier it becomes to express yourself. Think about a person who reads every day for 1 year. They have seen thousands of English sentences, thousands of useful phrases, thousands of examples of natural communication. When they speak, their brain has a large library of English to use. Now imagine someone who rarely reads. Their English exposure is much smaller. Their language library is much smaller. As a result, speaking often feels harder. Another important benefit is that reading improves sentence flow. Many learners speak in short, disconnected sentences. Reading teaches you how ideas connect naturally. You learn how to explain. You learn how to describe. You learn how to tell stories. You learn how to share opinions. All of these skills help you become a better speaker. This is why many strong speakers are also strong readers. They have spent years filling their minds with quality language. and that language eventually appears in their speech. So if you want to become a confident English speaker, do not focus only on speaking. Read every day as well. Because every page you read is preparing your brain for future conversations. Great speaking begins with great input. And reading is one of the most powerful forms of input you can give your brain.